Hey guys, today I'm here with Attila Pongor. Attila is a successful Hungarian businessman. He has a publishing house in Hungary. He probably have, to my knowledge, all the books you probably know that are famous in the English-speaking world. He probably has the rights for most of them, as far as I know. Yep. But we're not here to talk about publishing itself. What I happen to know, because I know him personally, he's a member of my mastermind. I know Attila is specialized on the entrepreneurial mentality. What takes an entrepreneur, what differs a successful entrepreneur in terms of mentality from a guy that's not as successful as he could be. That's why I brought him to talk about that. Attila, before we start talking about that, could you please tell a little bit about your story, how you became to be who you are right now?
Well, first of all, hi to you. It's a great honor and pleasure to be interviewed by Erico. Let's say I'm a self-made man. I had a wonderful family with my parents, but they taught me how to be a good employee and how to behave, how to work as an outstanding employee. But approximately 13 years ago, I had a book in my hand. So books, good business books, self-help books are on the way of my life. It was The Rich Dad Poor Dad from Robert Kiyosaki, maybe, you know. And that was the first hit. I understand that there is a life outside of the employee life. But I had no clue how to do it.
Funny as it sounds, that was my first major inspirational book as
really?
Well. Yes.
We are not there alone, I think,
yes.
From that point of view. And then I set up my first company. I started working on my own, making businesses. I was very successful. After the first 5 years, I made $1.2 million income as a management consultant, and with a very high margin. So I think I had a very good life. But I realized that I am not happy with my life, with my marriage, with my business life, with the business partner, and so on and so on. So I made my mind, and I went to Spain, to northern Spain, to the El Camino de Santiago, the pilgrimage to Santiago de Compostela.
The same as Paulo Coelho?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I was inspired by Paulo Coelho's book,
yes.
The Pilgrim. So I did it. It was an awesome insight, understanding my motivation, who I am better. And then I changed my mind and completely turned towards to help the Hungarian entrepreneurs to develop themselves as a very profitable and successful entrepreneur. And then I started learning step by step what are the characteristics of a successful entrepreneur, and that was your question.
Yes. How did you do that?
Simply books. I had Brian Tracy's books, Jim Rohn's books, Bob Proctor's books, Earl Nightingale's books, and simply I followed the steps of these big masters.
Yes.
And one master gave me another master, and I read the books. I bought information product, tapes, CDs, audio, DVDs, and so on and so on and so on. And then simply I realized that if I want to be successful as an entrepreneur, first I have to surround myself with successful entrepreneurs. That was one of the major issues. So I changed step by step my friends.
You actually change your friends.
Absolutely. I love them as a person from my college, university, from my childhood. But simply because they didn't want to change, they didn't want to develop themselves. They remain who they were. I respect them as a person. But as an entrepreneur, I wanted to be surrounded by entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And learn their mentality, their habits. So the first is surround by yourself with entrepreneurs. The second, study the habits, everyday routines of a successful entrepreneurs.
So that's a tip. Surround yourself with entrepreneurs.
This is the first. The second, study their everyday habits.
Why everyday habits? I tend to tell a little bit about my everyday habits to them because I think they help me a lot.
Because our everyday habits differentiate from everybody else. So these are the habits who breaks us or makes us. And I think that was the key issue. I understand that all my habits, everyday routines, rituals, are absolutely, programmed by my parents, my family, who were employees and not entrepreneurs.
So the habits. And what is a typical habit Would you be able to give some
Oh,
examples
a
of
lot,
that?
a lot.
Yes.
For instance,
What an employee in respect
I can
to
tell you my entrepreneurial habits,
Yes.
which I have developed completely from ground zero.
Yes.
Everyday learning and self-development.
Okay.
Every day I study something, whether it is marketing, whether it is product launch formula, whether it is self-help books, motivational books, everything, every day I have a half an hour dedicated time. When I wake up in the morning, another habit is I don't switch on my mobile. I don't look at my emails. Because all this information coming outside, they force me to think, to react. And I want to preserve the openness, my mind. So I feed my mind with self-help information, marketing information, lead generation information, money-making tips, and so on and so on.
Yes.
And then I start thinking. So I have a thinking ritual after the everyday study. Generally, I work in mind map. And I create a phrase. How can I do it? What can I do? Ta 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 ta.
Yes.
And then during 30 minutes, I do a mindstorming exercise. I learned from Brian Tracy.
Yes.
I phrase a question, and then I think 20 answers. And generally, it's an action plan. Generally, it's the solving the issue, solving the problem, solving the challenge.
Yes.
So I use my mind to be in a very proactive thinking mode.
Yes.
For the last 4 years, I don't read newspapers. I don't watch news.
Funny as it sounds, for the last 2.5 years I haven't watched the TV. Not that I will see TV, I block my head, but I don't have a TV cable connected to my home.
Well, we
Funny.
have it because I have 3 kids and they watch the Disney channels and so on. But generally, it's a waste of time. Because if there is, listen, if we have new elections, I will know.
Yes.
If the Third World War II blew out, I will know.
If the
Two
Papa
jokes.
renounces,
I will
people
know.
tell me,
But
yeah.
It doesn't really have influence on my life.
Interesting.
So I want to deal with things I have direct influence.
Okay.
And my time management is also, how can I say, time management also habit, based on habits.
Yes.
So this is the people who you surround with, associate with, networking with, spend time with, your habits, reading habits, exercising habits, eating habits. All these are very little things, but at the end they create something successful or something, let's say, as a failure.
Awesome. Awesome.
And of course, another habit, how you spend your money, how you invest your money. You see, so coming back also from Rich Dad Poor Dad, Kiyosaki, I bought the game. You see?
Yes, the board game.
The board game, and we had time. I was playing with everyone this game.
Yes.
And when I was broke, I was just looking at the shelf, and there is a saying on the side of the board game.
You're looking at the what?
The shelves. So the board game was on the shelf.
The shelf.
In my house.
Yes.
And simply, it's not important how much money you make, but how much you keep. And when I was broke, without money, having a huge debt.
So you actually you end up breaking.
Absolutely.
How come?
Because I spent too much.
So you weren't. So in your business career, you end up broking.
Yeah, because
broke.
As I told, 10 years ago I had 1.2 million US dollars income from a company.
Yes.
And 3 years later I was minus 500k dollars in debt.
In debt.
Because I spent everything.
Yes.
Las Vegas trip, Paris trip, and so on and so on and so on and so on. A lot of consumptions.
Yes.
Because I had the habits
of
to spend as an employee.
To
not
spend
to
money.
invest as an entrepreneur, as a very savvy entrepreneur.
And when you were broke, you look at the shelf?
Simply looking at the shelf, and there's the board game of Kiyosaki, and saying the issue is not how much money you make. I made $1.2 million, but how much money you keep.
Yes.
And then it hit me. That's another technique. It's another habit, the investing, saving habit. If you read, for instance, the book "The Richest Man in Babylon,"
yes,
everything is written. So everything was written in the last 100 years about how rich people think, how rich people invest, how rich people spend their life. Only we have to study it and put into action our life.
Awesome.
So that's what I set up my publishing company in Hungary. We are buying the best mainly US business books titles rights to publish in Hungarian.
Can you give me an example?
Dan Kennedy, almost all No BS series of Dan Kennedy's books. Jeffrey Gitomer's The Sales Gurus, Sales Management, Sales Techniques Guru. Earl Nightingale's Napon Hill Think and Grow Rich.
So you won't Napon and Hill Think and Grow Rich writes in Hungarian?
In Hungarian, yeah.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. So my mission is to really to serve my Hungarians who don't speak English or good enough English
Yes.
with the right, correct translation, because this is it's a cheap investment.
Of course.
$20, $30 to buy a book, or CD or an audio book. But this is the starting point where they can start changing their life.
Yes.
But changing the result you have now, you had to change first, not only your action, but the thinking, your
Around.
mind behind.
Attila, I was, just before we were having this interview, right in this place, I was interviewed Ray Trace from Hay House.
Yep.
And I was acknowledging him for the service he was giving to the world by running this company, by bringing it from 1 million when he started to 100 million,
Yeah.
when he actually probably is right now. I think he is right now. And apart from running a business, it's about, in my views, about making it possible for people to making books available. My life was changed by one book after the other, right?
Yeah.
One book simply completely knocked myself off, and I tell them on the video. And I want to acknowledge you for the same thing, for actually, first for caring, for being a successful entrepreneur, for going from 1 million to 500, now you're back up right there, now you own this famous publishing company. But I know personally for actually, I would say, give a damn for actually caring about going back to the community and teach them. And I know you're teaching your workshops and very famous workshops, but I like to acknowledge you for the impact
Thank you
you
so
do
much.
for your people in Hungary.
Let me share you a story
Yes.
about the millionaire mindset, entrepreneur millionaire mindset. When I was really deeply broke,
Yes.
at that time my son
Like minus
500K
broke. Yeah.
dollars. It's $500,000
Yeah.
debt. It's a heavy stuff, I divorced. My kids stayed with their mom, alone, mentally, emotionally. So it was really disaster. One weekend I was walking with my son, and he was 11 years at that time. He asked me, "Daddy, are we a millionaire?" And still very, yes, I am. But a kid is maybe a little small, but not stupid. He was asking back, "Okay, Dad, where are the millions?" And I told him a reply just like, "At the moment, the millions are other people's bank accounts." And then I realized that I have not...
At the moment, the millions are in other people's
Yes,
bank.
I am millionaire already,
Yes.
in dollars and euro. But these millions are not in my bank account. But these millions belong to me. At the moment, they are other people's pocket.
Yes.
And the question is that I have to give them the useful service. And in return, they will give me their money.
Awesome.
And that was the point in my deepest broke point, that I realized that I am a millionaire. In dollars, in euro, in whatever currency you want. But simply, and then from that point on, it was it's okay, I relaxed, and I could focus on creating value to people. That was the moment when I developed the idea to setting up this book publishing company. Setting up my coaching programs, creating information product, because all these are the useful services we render, and we get the money.
Awesome.
You see,
Yes.
and that's what
really get it.
this is the mentality, the mindset of a successful entrepreneur. So we are all millionaires in every currency we want, you name it. But we have to think every day what kind of service, useful service we can render to the people who has the money. They have the need, they have the problem, and we have the solution.
Awesome.
You see, and this is marketing. And my mentality, my mindset is a little bit more than marketing. Marketing, I love marketing. Marketing is a tool, is a mindset as well to serve our clients, and that's it.
Awesome. Awesome.
And as much as I give, the more I receive.
Awesome. Awesome. Attila, thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Erico.
Guys, if you're enjoying this kind of interviews, we have Attila here. We have right here a button to subscribe to my YouTube channel right here. If you want to receive the next interviews, I would love to know what your thoughts about this interview. So please do leave a comment here, just below.
I have another idea, information for you.
Okay.
You know, I'm from Hungary. Hungary is in the center of Europe. In the 50s and 60s, we have a very famous soccer team, football team. Okay.
Okay.
We won sometimes against Brazil, so we are very proud. It was 50 years ago. 50 years ago, but
okay.
we beat in Brazil. Okay, that's in the history book. When I started 7 years ago, I had a lot of limiting beliefs because I listen to the Americans, masters, $1 million, $2 million, very successful. Okay, but whether can I do it the same thing in Hungary or not? That was the question.
Yes.
And now I can prove that what I have learned from my masters, Bob Proctor, Anthony Robbins, Jeff Walker, or the other huge and awesome guys, if I was able to do the same thing in Hungary, you are able to do the same thing in Brazil or anywhere in the world. So if they could do it, I could do it. If I could do it, you can do it.
Awesome. And
that's my message.
And I did it.
Yeah, you did it in Brazil. So
and I keep doing it. So it's possible.
Our mission is to give you hope that if you were able to do it, you have the hope, you have the chance that you can do it.
Awesome.
I don't know how much time it takes, but you can do it.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Attila. Thank you.
Thank you so much.